So I'm here with Sarah Lautenbach, head women's lacrosse coach. Sarah, let's start off with, for those who aren't really, maybe not be familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to Willamette?
Sure. So I've been coaching college lacrosse for about 10 years, and I was kind of all over within Division One. I also coached some Division Two. I had been an assistant for the last 6 years prior to coming to Willamette, and I had felt like I was ready to become a head coach again, and I wanted to find a program that was the right fit, but also one that might be a newer program, and to build that and something that was on the West Coast and help grow the game of lacrosse. And so I was kind of just looking for the right opportunity for a few years. And when Willamette came up, I definitely looked into it, and I was just super impressed with the university and the school and the way that they put students first and have that special connection with their students. And it really coincided with my philosophy. And so that's kind of how I came to be interested in Willamette, and one thing led to the other.
I think most would say that you had a successful first year as a program. So heading into what should have been your second season as a program, how has the program progressed, and kind of where did you see yourself, at the start of the season, and how was the team maybe a little bit better than it was at the end of last year?
Sure. So the first year was just a matter of, being able to get on the field and build a roster and get our feet wet. And I think a lot of the players had never played, obviously, with college lacrosse, but never had even played. Some of them haven't played competitive lacrosse. And so that coming from first year to this year was the biggest difference, was experience for our returners. And then we also brought in 6 freshmen who could come in and contribute right away, and also add to the dynamic of the team and add to the competitiveness. And I think that first year really helped build confidence and allowed them to know, like, we can do this. And I think that confidence went a long way. And just even the drills we were able to do this year and build on made it so much more fun. And I think this year was completely different with what we were even able to, the way that we were able to practice and the mentality that we were able to build on.
So obviously the season was cut short after dropping the first game to Aurora. You guys had won 2 in a row and were kind of on a little bit of a streak before everything came to an abrupt halt. So tell us about the decision to postpone and eventually cancel the season. How did the team find out, and kind of what was their reaction?
Yeah, that was really tough. Because I think none of us really knew what was happening, and everything happened so fast. So I know as there was talk about this, we had a couple games drop off of our schedule before even the talk had started for us. And Annie and I remember we were sitting and we kind of just had this. We were getting prepared to play Linfield and George Fox that weekend, and going through scouting reports and how to plan our practices according to the games coming up. And I think we looked at each other and we're like, we don't know how many more, if we're going to even get to the weekend, if we're going to get through these practices. And so we actually called the captains in and called our senior in, and we were like, we want to make a practice for our senior. We want to do whatever they want to do. So we kind of threw everything out the window. And then while they were in that meeting, we got the news that the season had been postponed indefinitely. And so that was really tough. And I think once that news happened, the idea of planning a practice kind of went out the window, because I don't think they were in the mind space to do that. And so what we kind of ended up deciding to do was we all went out onto the field. It was a nice day, and we kind of sat there and just kind of talked about different things about the season, great memories. And it was just kind of a tough time, but I think they all wanted to be together. And then our senior wanted to hear his goal song play, so we let him score a goal and played the goal song, which was a really cool moment. And then we just went for a walk on Riverside or the Riverfront Park and got ice cream. That was what we ended up doing.
So let's jump to the present. Your team is now roughly into their third week of quarantine. How are they handling it, and what are you doing to kind of preserve the team dynamic?
Yeah, obviously, it's been tough for them, but I think that they're really resilient, and they've always been really positive. So I think even though some of them might be still in shock and still figuring stuff out as all of this is still evolving, they still manage to be really positive and supportive to each other, which is awesome. And I don't expect anything different from them because they're great. But as we kind of try to navigate through this, I think the thing that every coach is trying to do is to be creative and think outside the box. And so we want to stay connected as much as possible. So we use GroupMe a lot to just interact daily. Whether it's just me throwing ideas out at them and see if they stick. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then other times, like we've done a competition with other teams in our conference, which was really fun. It was which team could run or walk the most miles in 12 hours. That was, the team loved it. I hope the other team loved it as well. I think it was fun to bring everyone together and kind of use competition. We also do, TikTok competitions with like stick tricks. And now we're trying to get into maybe doing weekly workout classes that are optional, but just so it's there and so we can stay connected through Zoom. And we're also just trying to plan weekly things. So we're doing like a show. I don't know if it's a show and tell or if it's they teach a class. It can kind of be whatever they want, but we're using optional practice time if they want to log on to Zoom and teach like how to make banana bread, and they can all do it together, something like that.
Is that class open for anyone? I think my wife would like it if I could make the banana bread.
We'd love to have her.
So looking forward, how do you guys transition into next year and kind of, right now we're basically looking in the crystal ball as to what may happen, but what are you hoping for in the next couple months, and kind of where does that leave Willamette lacrosse in the fall?
I think everyone's hoping that this can all go back as soon as possible, and I know it's not going to be something that's going to happen anytime soon, but I think everybody wants it to happen as soon as possible. I think I'm with everyone else. I don't know what's going to happen, but I see my job is to just keep everybody connected, and some things are bigger than sports, and this is one of them. And just making sure that our players are okay mentally and that they're in a good place. And I think if everybody's good and we can kind of move on from there, I'm not worried about once this passes. I'm not worried about them. They're resilient. They'll bounce back. We'll get back into a routine. But really just trying to keep everybody together and keep everybody healthy, and and the timeline might change for what this looks like. And I think just also like with our current verbal commits that we have, just trying to stay connected with them and make sure that they're doing okay as well, because their situations are changing and adapting.
Right. So to kind of wrap things up, we're gonna lighten things up a little bit, and we're gonna play a quick game of this or that. So I'm gonna give you two things, and you need to pick one off the top of your head, and then if you'd like to expand on why you chose it, that would be fine, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So first thing, this or that, Cardinal or Gold?
Cardinal.
Okay. Home games or away games?
Home games.
Offense or defense?
It's a tough one. I'm currently coaching attack, but I'm going to say defense.
That's okay. Good.
Defense is so much fun to coach.
Multiple overtimes or a shootout?
Multiple overtimes.
And last one, bus trip or a plane trip?
Bus trip.
Super. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. So, Sarah, thanks for joining us, and good luck to your team and the rest of their classes this semester. And we hope to see everyone back on campus soon.
Great. Thank you, Chris.